proper diagnosis was music to my ears. By Katelyn Mallone. My life has always revolved around music ever since I was a young child. I began taking piano lessons at age 5, playing guitar and saxophone at age 12, along with writing lyrics that were accompanied by chords and melodic expressions. Growing up, music was always my favorite subject in school and I played in every band possible. During summertime I got my music fix at the Oregon Festival of American Music, a music summer camp which offered music education classes and workshops for eager teenage musicians like me. A wonderful honor was being the recipient of the Louis Armstrong Excellence in Jazz Award as a sophomore in high school. As a senior, I was ecstatic when I was accepted at a private arts college in Seattle, Washington. During August 2004, I moved to Seattle to gear up for my freshman year as a music major. I was in a great place during the summer of 2008. I was preparing to graduate with a bachelor's degree in music. I was playing in 2 bands, booking gigs and performing shows around Puget Sound. I was truly in my element and I loved it. During the end of August 2008, my neck and shoulder muscles were becoming tense and painful, but I didn't think too much of it because I had neck and shoulder strain even when I was a preteen, teen and beyond. The tension would come and go, but this time my neck tension wasn't going away, in fact it was worsening. At one point I remember waking up and not being able to hold my head up straight. I went to work that day having to hold my head up with my left hand so I could use my right hand to ring up customers at a retail store. It continued to get even worse. My body would not respond to over-the-counter painkillers. At one point I had gone to work one morning and my manager advised me to check into the emergency room as soon as possible. The doctor gave me a couple of pills to take, one of which was a muscle relaxer. Not knowing what was wrong, they sent me away with 2 prescription drugs and no answers. The 3rd of October, 2008 marked my last day of work. Management and coworkers were very understanding when it came to my health. Everyone was very supportive when I left, but my mission was to try and help myself heal. That included seeing a chiropractor and an acupuncturist, both of which could only momentarily relieve me of my symptoms, which included tight neck and shoulder muscles, a tilting head and torso, full body spasming and unbelievable physical pain from my head down to my torso. One of the most memorable moments I will never forget is waking up in the middle of the night as my body began to spasm for 3 hours straight. I had absolutely no control whatsoever. All I could really do was hold onto my bedsheets until the shaking subsided. Walking around was not possible and I found myself having to roll out of bed and crawl to the bathroom. I could not stand up straight, both my torso and neck were pulling and I was just in excruciating non-stop pain. If I had to go somewhere I would rely on my wonderfully amazing tall boyfriend who is 6 feet 3 inches. He would wrap my right arm around his back and he would help stabilize me as best he could as we walked, but more often than not my spasms would be so severe that I would find my boyfriend and I being pushed off the sidewalk. That is how intensely strong my spasms were. During my first appointment with my chiropractor, she could just hold my neck and feel all the muscle spasms and knots. She gave me a neck brace which helped to hold my head up a bit straighter. When I went to acupuncture appointments, my sessions included a unique procedure called cupping. Cupping is a form of acupuncture that involves using small glass cups approximately 2 inches in diameter, accompanied with fire. When the glass cups are lit on fire they are immediately placed on targeted tight muscles. Once the glass cups are placed on my body they actually tighten and loosen on the targeted muscles. What is the best thing about this procedure is that it's pain-free and you never get burned by the glass cups. But what occurs after the cupping process is bruising of the body, which happens to be about 2 inches in diameter. This is to be expected and is not a bad thing by any means. What was difficult for me was when I finish my acupuncture sessions I feel some improvement, but to my dismay when I drive approximately 30 minutes to get home, my symptoms at that point would resurface. I was completely baffled. Even when I would attempt to heal my muscles, they would always resort back to their original state of pain and spasms. Shortly afterward I was referred to an orthopedic surgeon who turned out to be no help whatsoever. During my appointment she blatantly said, "It looks like you have what most Americans have. Stress." She also went on to say that I am depressed. Well, she was right about one thing. Yes, I am under stress and yes, I'm depressed, but that's only because I don't know what is wrong with my body. That would make anyone depressed. After numerous failed attempts to figure out what was really going on with my body, I was incredibly fortunate and blessed to get a correct diagnosis on the 7th of October, 2008. One day prior to my 22nd birthday, I was diagnosed with cervical dystonia. A little over a month ago, and by having to deal with frustrating dystonia symptoms, I was ultimately relieved to finally find out exactly what was ailing my body. Getting the correct diagnosis was a welcomed relief. I was eager to begin my research studies on this unknown disorder. This research was very helpful and insightful. I learned that dystonia is a rare neurological disorder that affects the brain as well as the body. It's a type of movement disorder. In that respect, it is similar to Parkinson's disease. I continued my research efforts trying to figure out a cure or some form of treatment to help my healing body. Unfortunately, much to my dismay, I found out that there is no known cure, only a variety of treatments. While I was still lead down, I had not fully grasped that there was no known cure, so my emotions at the time were in check. By my newfound knowledge, I was determined to understand my treatment options, as that was my only way to help my body recover. After finding out the dystonia has no known cure, it took me a few days to wrap myself around that fact. I was incredibly sad and didn't understand why I had gotten this disorder. On top of that, it was depressing and heartbreaking for me because I could not even begin to play piano or guitar. I was beyond devastated. I had always defined myself as a musician, and now what did I have? I kept asking myself, who am I without my music? Music was my world, and now when my ability to play music had been taken away from me, what was my existence on earth at this point? I felt like I had no identity, other than the fact that I was completely handicapped. I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and I would later going to find that reason. All my life I had dreamed of becoming a famous musician, and while I continue to dream big when it comes to my music, I have one other incredibly important dream. The dream is to bring awareness about dystonia in hopes of finding a cure one day. Let's just say that I live to dream big and the sky is the limit. The well-known treatment for dystonia is botulinum toxin, Botox, injections into tighten spasm and muscle regions for a limited spasm relief. I say limited because this is a treatment that is done every 3 to 4 months for the rest of the patient's life, because unfortunately the Botox gradually wears off and the body continually needs these injections in order to maintain stability. With all this newfound knowledge, I was eager to try these Botox injections, feeling hopeful and optimistic that my body would respond well to these injections, and then I had experienced relief from my intense pain and spasms. On the 21st of October, 2008, I was moments away from becoming the proud recipient of Botox injections, and I was thrilled. I was informed by my neurologist that the Botox injections, especially the first series of injections, would be very painful, but the outcome of relief was what was going to get me through. In hindsight, I will say that no amount of optimism could have prepared me for that kind of pain. When each syringe filled with Botox was injected, the pain was so intense, I found myself weeping in the doctor's office. There are really no words in the English language they could fully convey the pain I felt that day, and to be frank, ouch really doesn't even begin to describe my Botox injection experience. After an emotionally and physically exhausting day, I was immensely content with getting home and lying down on my bed with an ice pack on my neck region to calm and relieve my recently injected areas on my body. The Botox injections take about 3 weeks for the body to fully respond, so I had to be patient and just wait. During that 3-week period, I began noticing that my spasms were more controlled, but I was disappointed when my pain did not subside. Well, I had gained some form of relief. I was in no way, shape or form physically able to get back to life as usual, let alone do some of the basic things such as cooking and cleaning. To be completely honest, I was physically unable to adequately take care of myself. Talk about a harsh blow to my ego. I had always been a very independent person, and relying on the help from others was a challenging transition for me. I am the type of person who hates asking people for help, But ultimately when put into a trying situation it's making the best of a bad situation and the changes and shapes the person that I am in the process of becoming. Dystonia had become such a life-changing event for me. I had gone from being in relatively healthy and fit to a very thin individual in a matter of a couple of months. It was nearly impossible for me to prepare a meal at this time, let alone eat, because I had to eat while lying on my side. My weight kept dropping. When I went for my second set of Botox injections on the 12th of January, I discussed my rapid weight loss with my neurologist. Much to my surprise, my doctor told me that my muscles were spasming so much that I was burning more calories than I was taking in. My goal then was to take in more calories and try to gain some weight back. Frankly, I had to gorge myself with food, lots and lots of food. Let the fun begin. I had continued problems when they came to being vertically balanced. I was continuing to use a neck brace and had been prescribed a torso brace by my physical therapist. I continued getting a pull from my torso to the point where I would have pain on the top right area of my rib cage. I decided to use full arm crutches, which worked wonders. I was later prescribed forearm crutches and I used the wheelchair from time to time. There were times when I was completely immobile and the wheelchair was very helpful in my recovery efforts. During the second set of Botox injections, I was more optimistic because with the research I had done thus far I had learned that it can sometimes take 2 to 3 series of injections to notice a significant improvement. During my second Botox session, the amount of Botox was a higher dosage than the first session had been. I also felt like a pro the second time around. I had been through the injection process before, and I knew what to expect. Well, the injections had continued to be painful. They were easier to handle partly because the muscles were less tense than before. During my injections, there were only a few tears, but I was again looking forward to relaxing in my bed with a soothing ice pack. On the 3rd of February, 2009, coincidentally on a Friday, I had a follow-up appointment with my neurologist, and while I had not completely recovered the way I had hoped, there was a small yet significant breakthrough. My right neck muscles were more relaxed than before. I was excited to hear the good news. Even though it was small, it was a recovery nonetheless. Well, my muscles were more relaxed. My neurologist recommended that I see a physical therapist to learn some exercises that would be beneficial for my body. When I started seeing my physical therapist, I learned some helpful exercises. They could help my body become more limber, and since the Botox injections had already helped some of my muscles relax, it was an adequate time to retrain my muscles to help become more elongated and relaxed. Little did I know that this would be the start of a wonderful new opportunity that would go on to heal my body better than anything I've tried before. During the summer of 2009 I had the most amazing opportunity in front of me. I had the chance to check myself into a physical therapy rehabilitation center in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The rehab clinic is called Spasmodic Torticollis Recovery Clinic. It was so exciting to have the opportunity to make it to New Mexico and meet the most amazing woman I've ever met, Abigail Brown, who is the director of this rehab clinic. To my amazement, she has the exact same type of dystonia that I have. When I met her for the first time I would have had no idea that she has cervical dystonia. She taught me a multitude of bearing stretches as well as weight training and using a gravity table, also known as an inversion table. I was also educated on a healthier diet, as well as having daily massages and spiritual guidance, which includes constant prayers of healing and prayers of thanks for the blessings that have occurred thus far. Probably one of the most important things Abby taught me was that if I wanted to get the most out of my physical therapy sessions I had to be a very grounded and diligent and do my physical therapy every single day. Either I do physical therapy every day in hopes of healing using a natural approach, or I continue doing nothing and potentially get worse. The choice of doing nothing was unacceptable for me. Here I had learned how I could potentially help my body. How could I turn that down? But when it came to doing physical therapy I had to be patient, a virtue that I had learned back when I got my first set of Botox injections. During Thanksgiving of 2009 my family was absolutely ecstatic when they saw how well my body had responded to the physical therapy. I was so excited to show off how well my body had healed in a matter of a couple months. I had the misfortune of experiencing a relapse in January 2010 partially because of stress. I was devastated because one reason I had relapsed was because I had overdone my physical therapy. It would take me around 7 months to recover from that relapse, but I now understand I cannot push my body too hard. I have dystonia. I may have this disorder for the rest of my life, and I have to learn how to handle my body and make sure I am in tune with how my body feels on a daily basis. The wonderful thing now is that I have recovered greatly and I'm able to live a more normal life now. I feel that in my case it has been a combination of daily physical therapy sessions, a healthier diet and the use of prescription medication that has helped me to recover to the point I am now. I also have not used Botox injection since April 2009. I am blessed beyond words and could not be more excited to share my story with you.